How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Gundam card game video here on Red Zone Rogue. It has been a few weeks since our last Gundam card game video, and I kind of wanted the news to pile up just a little bit because it is a slow trickle until the game finally launches a little bit later this year. Plus, I had back-to-back weekends of shoutcasting, first doing the Grand Archive Ascent Seattle, and then the Shadowverse Evolve Grand Showdown in Summerin. So very busy for me, and then I also got sick. Back-to-back weekends shoutcasting is a little draining. So it was a good time to kind of like refresh and come back with some Gundam card game news, and that is exactly what we're talking about today. We're going to talk a little bit about their organized play structure, as well as their roadmap and some announcements of new Gundam series that are going to be in the card game, as well as some sets and all that kind of good stuff. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the overlay. And I should mention, today we are not sponsored by anyone or anything today except for myself. So if you want to support the channel at all, if you like what I do, hey, check out the Patreon and all that kind of good stuff. Anyway, let's talk about the World Championships. Also, I should mention that our playmat here is back, reordered again because it keeps selling out. So that's on redzonerogue.com if you want to do the merch stuff. So a lot of stuff has been announced in the interim, including their World Championship circuit. So this is going to be for 2025 and 2026, and they kind of laid down the bare bones structure, and it is kind of what you would expect, in my opinion. So we have the World Championships. It's, as again, going to be a series of the highest level tournaments to determine the world's strongest Gundam card game player. I like that the Worlds is actually Worlds, right? Since this is a global release game, you're not going to have a separate English and Japanese meta. It's all going to be everyone playing together, which is awesome. And so here is the outline, right? So you basically have offline regionals, so it does not count online regionals, very specifically offline. That's going to launch autumn of this year, and that's going to lead into regional championships, and of course the grand finals, which is going to be in spring of 2026. So kind of a pretty easy three-tier tournament structure here. You have your regionals, you have regional champs, and then the grand finals. It does make a lot of sense here. It does kind of break it down as well. I'm not going to read through everything here because it's a little bit dry, right? The basic gist is, hey, you play up through here. Though I do want to note that it's open to everyone in Latin America and Oceania as well. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, and then it kind of breaks it down as well. Here's your offline regionals, your regional champs, and then of course the grand finals. So yeah, that's the first piece of news. I love that they're launching the game with organized play already, kind of in the chamber, ready to fire off. That's great. Organized play for TCGs is super important, so you love seeing this. Hopefully these events, at least the bigger ones like regional champs and the grand finals, hopefully these are going to be streamed and have shoutcasting and all that kind of good stuff. Personally, obviously I would love to be involved with that, but even if I'm not, I think having shoutcasting for these is very important. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. All right, let's talk about some other news. All right, so I scrolled down a little bit. Here's the release schedule. We're leaving it in. So here's the 2025 product release schedule, which is great because they've already told us what their plans are for more stuff. So essentially, we're just going to cut down to this. This is the most important part. So we already know that this is the release date for the first starter decks, the first 4 starter decks, and the first booster set. However, we now have news about the follow-ups, essentially. So the 2 following starter decks and the next set, and the ones after that, with rough release dates for some of them. So as mentioned, we'd have the original ones, and then 2 to 3, well, this is about 3 months later is when we get the booster set, but we also get the starter deck 2 months later, one of the starter decks. So we have starter deck 5 and starter deck 6 not launching at the same time. These are going to be about a month apart, as you can see here, which is in September and in October, right? So set 2 is going to be launching in October with 1 starter deck, and we also have a starter deck here being launched in September as well. And then we also have starter deck 7 and 8, which is going to be released winter. I assume probably in January, but we'll have to see based on this and the cadence between the releases. I would guess 3 months after, which is right around January. Same with the booster set. And it looks like they're going to be doing like a every 3 months kind of cadence. Now, we don't have a ton of information about this kind of stuff other than the release dates. However, we do have a little bit of information, and that is that Mobile Suit Gundam Quarks is going to be one of the starter decks, which is really, really cool. This is going to be one of the starter decks that is going to be released in October. I know it cuts off a little bit here, but yes, in October. And this is going to be the clan unity, I believe. So we still don't have much information about starter deck 5, which is kind of interesting, right? So we have 5 here. Starter deck 6 is the Quarks one. And there they do have a little bit of a thing here. I'm gonna mute this because, well, it's gonna be muted for you anyway, because I do not want to get content ID'd. We don't get a ton of we don't get any new cards or any reveals. Just the fact that we are having this tie-in. And personally, I haven't actually seen Quarks yet. I haven't seen it yet. I hear it's really, really good. But I just haven't had the time to get out to the theaters and see it. I'll definitely watch it once it's more widely available. But yeah, we're getting the new stuff, which makes a lot of sense. I kind of assumed that they would be doing something like this, at least for like set 2 or set 3, but having it so soon is interesting. And we do have a little bit more of the tidbits. It does have featured series, Mobile Suit Gundam, and Quarks. And yeah, yep. And then once again, it is the starter deck 6. All this stuff, you know, it's still coming soon. So we just had the announcement. We don't have much more information other than it's going to be centered around Quarks. Hopefully, as with all of the other Gundam card game stuff, it will feature original art, like new original art of stuff from the new series, which is really, really cool. All right, next piece of news. So basically, that's what we have for the timeline, right? We have like a layout of the timeline, but we don't really have a lot of specifics other than that starter deck 6 is going to be the Quarks set, or the Quarks starter, which actually leads me to believe that the booster set will also feature cards and characters from that as well, because they're launching like side by side. So it makes sense that they, match up. This one launching a month earlier, I'm very curious what they're going to do with starter deck 5. I also want to mention just in general that they have 8 starter decks on the horizon. I know this is kind of like something that Bandai likes to do, but I think this is really good. Just having an entry point for new players at every level, every stage of the game, whether you're coming in at set 2 or set 3, I think is really good. Something that Bandai does frequently that I think is really smart. All right, speaking of really cool things, they have finally announced all of the little minis that we're getting with the Gundam Assemble. So if you don't know what Gundam Assemble is, it's essentially a brand new Gundam minis war game, and they're tying it in with the Gundam card game. And so for the initial launch, these 4 starter decks here, you can buy the base starter decks that just have the decks and the cards and you're good to go. Or you can buy a special version that has all that stuff, but it also comes with minifigs for Gundam Assemble. And so, well, we have the minifigs. We can see what they are, and go from there. So actually, let's open this in a bigger, so you can kind of get a bigger glimpse of these. So we have like the UC timeline stuff. We have RX 782 Gundam. We have Gun Tank and Gun Cannon. We have the Tall Geese from Gundam Wing, which is pretty cool. And then these are Leos, I believe. Then we have just a bunch of Zakus. We have just a Zaku squad here, 2 Zakus, and then the Red Comet, Char's Zaku. And then here's a bunch of stuff from Seed that I don't recognize because I've never watched Seed. But I do think all the Seed mobile suits look awesome. So they have updated the official starter deck pages to kind of reflect which things you are getting. By the way, these are actual like mini like fig type stuff. It's not Gunpla. They're not pre-colored. You have to paint them. So it's very much like Warhammer, right? You have to paint your minis. So this is kind of probably more accurate of what you're going to look like from the, what they're going to look like from the box. So yeah, we have the Tall Geese and the 2 Leos. Then we have, this is booster or starter deck 4. Yeah, this is the one with stuff I don't recognize. We have Launch Strike Gundam, Sword Strike Gundam, and the Sky Grasper. Like I said, all of the stuff from Seed looks really cool. And then we have Heroic Beginnings. This is, of course, your RX-78-2 Gundam, yep, and the Gun Tank and Gun Cannon. Classics, absolute classics. And then we have the Zeon's Rush. It makes sense that it's just all Zaku. It makes sense it's all Zaku's. And I'm pretty sure these all correspond to tokens you can make in the Gundam card game. And I've seen some promotional videos and stuff that are like they're putting these on top of the tokens, which is kind of cute. I guess you could do that. Which leads me to believe, like, we already know that these are tokens. We already know that these are tokens. The tokens we haven't seen, or we haven't seen any of these tokens. And then also, we haven't seen any Leo or like a Tall Geese token, which is interesting. So very curious if these ones are also going to be tokens, because these ones all are. And yeah, that's the Gundam card game news for this week. A little bit of wrap up. I do really love that they already came out with a roadmap. This is really cool. I think this is something that a lot of video games do that have, like, you know, ongoing service or whatever. I don't want to say necessarily say live service, because that's a whole other, potentially a whole other thing. But I love that they're doing this, and they're giving fans and everyone an idea of what's to come, and I think it's really good. And they're like, hey, we have a plan. We're coming out of the gates, you know, swinging. I think this is generally just fantastic. So good up on that. I know there's a lot of concerns about, like, you know, Bandai has games come and go very frequently. A lot of people are concerned about potentially Gundam not, you know, coming and then going, but I think Gundam is a strong enough IP with a passionate enough fan base that I foresee it being big. I don't know if it's going to be as big as One Piece, but I think Gundam's going to be one of the ones that lasts. hopefully not jinxing it at all, because I personally really want it to last. I love Gundam. So yeah, let me know what you think about all the news down below. Are you excited for the G-Quux starter? I actually really am, by the way. I haven't seen it yet, but I hear it's super good, so I'm actually really excited for this, and I've been spoiled a little bit. About some of the things that goes on in this, and then I also will be picking up the I will be kind of picking up these as well, because yeah, dude, I love minis as well. So let me know all your thoughts. Thank you for watching. We'll go back to me. Hello, it's me again. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Once again, if you like the content and you want to support, I have a plethora of ways to do so, from channel memberships to the Patreon to the merch store, where we have our lovely playmat done by a really talented anime artist, Pinakis, who's done art for a bunch of different card games, Azure Lane, Arknights, a bunch of cool stuff. He's great. And we're gonna have another one, by the way, later this year, potentially around the launch date of the first Gundam set. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be cool. Hey, you know, every mech pilot protagonist needs a rival, right? Right? Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.